Okay, so I'm pretty excited. I've just come into work to find that the laser cutting has been delivered. So I've just opened it up. I couldn't wait. I was going to do it on camera, but I just couldn't wait. So let's have a look, see what's arrived. The platen holder thing bit. I thought I'd ordered that out of 10mm, but it's come out of 12mm, which there's no bad thing. I'm pleased with that. We've got tool rest. That is 12mm. I did order that in 12. So this machine's going to be a pretty heavy old beast. And we've got those two there to go under there somehow. Try out that way up. They're going to get welded on there somehow for the adjustment. I think it'll probably be sort of over here a bit more, maybe. Not sure till I start getting it all put together. I don't know. And we get the 4 spacers, 12mm again. Look fairly straight. Not bad. Then we've got the main side. That's come out nicely. All the holes. I've still got to drill some holes. I've got to put I might put a reinforcer down here and 2 places to put the screws through for these things through to lock this bar when that goes through. But I didn't know where they were going to go or anything yet, so I didn't get the holes cut in those. It's easy enough to drill and tap a couple of holes. So I might put some flat bar down there on the obviously the other side to strengthen it up a bit. Although this is fairly hefty stuff. I've got this done out of 8mm. I was going to go for 6, but then I thought, sod it, in for a penny. I want to make this last, and I want it nice and rigid. So I've got it done out of 8. And then the other side, spacers. That's the other side, which I've just got my logo cut out of as well. So that's the bits. I've still got to get a few bits. I'm going to go up the scrapyard and see if I can get a base plate. They get sheet, or no, not sheet. What do you call it? Like flat bar. That's a part of it. That's one bit I bought for a jig for doing a job. I use that for making up moulds. But that is a bit of 10mm, and it's 300mm that way. And it's 400mm the other way, so it's literally a strip. Comes in a 20-foot length or 25-foot or 30-foot length, 300mm wide that way, and as long as you like. So I'm just going to go and get a piece cut 300mm by 500, which is the length of this from there to there, which I'm going to mount it on. So I'm going to mount these bits on and the motor through here as well, so it's all going to be hopefully nice and rigid. So I've got that bit to get, and I also want to get some bright for the actual tool, the bit that goes on there. The actual, I suppose that is the actual platen, 2" by, or 50 by, whatever that is, 175 I think will do it. So the bits have arrived. I'm quite excited. The next job, or the first job I think that I shall do, I'm actually going to tack them on there in place. I shall put this in while I tack the next ones in. Literally just going to put a tack on each end, maybe one in the middle just to hold it, then put the other plate on the top, tack that in the same place, making sure that this will slide in and out freely. I might have to put some shims in when I do it, because I'm not sure if I allowed enough room. I wanted it fairly tight, I didn't want it sloppy, but I think I might have made it a little bit on the tight side. I don't know, I've yet to play about with it. It's literally just arrived. I have put that up on there and there's not much. Anyway, we'll see. But that'll be the first job, is to tack all these on in place. All 3, 4. This 1, 2, 3, 4. Weld that on, and then use these holes as a guide for drilling these bars. So I shall just spot through from each side, each hole, with a 7mm drill. These are 7mm holes, because I wanted a bit of play for the 6mm bolts to go in. I've got there. Then I'll disassemble it all, break all the tacks off, and drill them all properly. The 6mm tapping size, tap them all, and then hopefully screw it all together, and with any luck that bit of bar will fit through. And so it's not the end of the world if it doesn't. I should just put some shims in. I think I might shim it this way anyway, just a touch, just a gnats. I've got some proper shim material somewhere, which is really thin. It's like fag papers, so that might be enough just to put a little bit through the widthways that way to keep them. I've got enough. This is 12mm, 6mm. I've got 3mm either side I can play with, just so that they don't bind up. I don't want to end up having to machine down this to slide in and out, but as I say, I didn't want it sloppy. So there we go, that is all the stuff arrived. I'm quite excited about that. So hopefully within the next few days I might start putting that together. I'm quite busy with other work at the moment, proper work, but I'm going to get on with it as soon as I can. Okay, so I found myself 5 minutes. I'm desperate to try and put this together, so we're going to have a quick go at just tacking it up. I'm just checking that it's upright and level. I think that's about right, so we'll give that a quick tack. Make sure it hasn't moved. Quick tack on the other end. That's got it. Still upright. Right. Let's get the bit of bar that's got to slide up and down. I'm glad I went for the aluminium. I think if I'd done this in steel, this whole thing would have been so immensely heavy. Right. That's in line, and it's going to be a little bit tight. Actually, looking at where the holes come in the centre of the 12mm, I can afford to shim it out quite a bit actually. Right, that's what I've had to do. Go and get the shim material. I couldn't find it. Found it. I don't know where I got this from. I've had it for years and years and years. It's an old tin and it's just full of varying thickness shim material. I guess that's how you bought it in those days, years ago. Let's see if we can see any difference on this vernier. Well, it's so thin you can't really get much of a measurement. Let's try a thicker one. You can't really see the difference. What else have we got? 2 or 3 different ones. That one's quite a thick one. That must be able to see the difference in that one. Yeah, we can see that's fairly thick, but I don't think we'll quite need that one. We've got nothing. There probably was written on the tin originally what all the different thicknesses were, but it's got so rusty you can't see a thing. Not quite sure which one to use. We're going to go for that one. Give it a go. It's sort of a medium weight one. It's not the thinnest and it's not the thickest. We'll give it a go at that and see what happens. Couple of bits of that. Stick it in the back. I'm sure that when I drew this up in the CAD, I did allow quite enough. I can't remember for the life of me what what I left. So I think as I stick these together, it'll become apparent how much I left. Just grab that. Now then, I've got another pair of those somewhere. Now where the hell are they? Around here somewhere. I've got 4 pairs and I can't see any of them. Let's go and have a little look for them. Here we go. There's another pair. I've got them all up on a rack somewhere on the back wall. It's difficult to get to, so I end up leaving them all around the shop. Check for upright. Looks pretty good. Let's give her another tack. It's got stuck. Where's my pliers? Around here somewhere. There we go. Don't know why it just suddenly does that for no apparent reason. There you go. Turn my burn back up a little bit, I think. One there. One on the other end. And let's see how that runs. Tight shims out and still a little bit on the tight side. I reckon I could afford a tiny bit more. Not sure. Let's line the other one up and see. The same shims and see where the next spacer comes in relation to the holes. As I say, I'm sure I left quite a bit. Yeah, you see now, even pushed up, not that tight. They're not in the middle. I think I'm going to have to take that second one off and redo it, re-shim it. Yeah, I think I'm going to need to put some more shims in, just a little touch more, because this is getting way off the holes. So I'll do that and come back. There we go. I've done it. I put an extra shim in. And now the holes all line up. I actually must have calculated it when I did the CAD and forgotten how much I'd allowed. It was almost 1/2 mil. So, but it means that the holes all line up now in the middle of the spacers. Let's make sure that this will go in with that other bit on. Yep, that goes in there. That catches when it gets to the end on that one. Don't quite know what's going on there. It's just catching on the back there. Don't know. So look at this one, top one. And that one goes through a treat because there's nothing in the way at the end. So never mind, I can sort that out. I can always, if necessary. Yes, it's still catching there. It's only at the very end once it comes out there. So I could always shim it up if necessary, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. That's easily overcome one way or another. So I'm just going to line this one up. You can see what I use for most of my measurements. My fingers. even my old calloused fingers are still pretty sensitive on the tips. And your fingers and your eyes are one of the most useful things you've got in the way of tools around the shop, for feeling levels and seeing if things are straight. Right, all looks okay. It's stuck again. Another quick tack. Spin around. Let's see if we can do the back. Right, hold that down. Quick few tacks. Right, that's got that. Let's have a little look. Stand her up. See what she looks like. Cracking. Let's just zoom you out so you can get a better view. I'm liking that already. So that's going to be a pretty hefty old tool, but like I said before, it's I want it to last. I want it built to last, and built to be nice and rigid. Right, let's try that bar in again. Right, in the bottom one. Still catching there. Right at the back there, just as it comes through. Oh, actually I can see it. That plate's got a bow in it. Right, it bows back across itself, so I can sort that out. Top one is lovely. Perfect. Yeah, I can sort that bottom out once I've taken it all apart again before I stick it back together. I'll just take the bow out of that. So cool. Right, on with the drilling. That's the next job. Right, so I'm just going to spot through these holes in the side plates. I've actually wound up my table, so I'm actually on the machine vise now, something a little bit more sturdy. I'm going to put plenty of this CT90 in all these holes, because although the laser cutting is very accurate, there's still sometimes they're a little bit tight. And it sort of binds up if you're not careful. But on the whole, you know, they're bloody good, these laser cutting. So I'm just going through each one, just putting a little spot, just to mark it. I suppose it'll be a bit bigger than a centre dot, really. I'll do the next lot. I'm beginning to wish I hadn't put quite so many holes in all these spaces, but there you go. I think at the end of the day, the amount of holes is going to work in my favour. It's going to hold it nice and rigid. Take any bows out with any luck, if there is any. That one at the back we'll get rid of, because that won't pull out, because it's about where the two sides, where the other piece comes out of the back from the sides. Don't quite know why, whether it's because it's smaller and the heat distorted it, I don't know. Anyway, we'll get it out. So let's put the next lot. Really, excuse me, I really could have fast forwarded through a little bit of this, but you get the idea. Just give that a little spot. I wish I could keep my vise up this high the majority of the time, but like I think I said earlier on, perhaps in one of my earlier videos, that I can't get material into the saw if I keep it up this high. Anyway, done that side. I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. I won't bore you with that as well, so I'll come back once that's done. Right, so I've spotted both sides, and I'm just going to put some numbers on each of these spacers, because although they should be drilled exactly the same because the holes are laser cut, should be exactly the same. There's obviously going to be little, discrepancies here and there, so I want to get them back in exactly the same spot that they were in. So just numbering them, then we can start taking it apart. Just going to helps if you turn the power on. Alright, I'm just going to take the tacks off. Not sort of grinding into it, just literally taking the tops of the tacks off. Now I can hammer them out and break the rest of it. I don't know how much on the other side I'll be able to actually grind off, not a lot. The top two and a few of the side bits. Alright, that's just about got that. See if a hammer will... Yeah, there you go, that's broken it. That's got it. Let's see if we can prise it out. There we go. Get all the muck off it from the cutting fluid, and you can see there that is spotted nicely. Just what I was after, both sides, so that's going to be a real good guide for drilling. So let's knock the rest of them out. That didn't take a lot. Again, nicely spotted. There we go. Lovely jubbly. Just clean her up. Right, come on, get all the muck off and let's get cracking. It's good stuff, but it's a bit messy. Right, so got it up in the drill press, and we're just going to drill each one. I'm going to drill from both sides. I'm not going right the way through because over the 1.5 inches it could have a tendency to wander, especially if the drill hasn't been sharpened properly. It can quite easily wander over that sort of distance. You end up turning it over and find it's coming out halfway up the side. So I'm just going to do about halfway through. Oops. Come out. Come back. Just going to be, as I say, do about halfway through from each side. And that should ensure that I sort of meet in the middle with any luck. Got this up fairly high, on high speed. It's only a 5mm drill for a 6mm tapping size. Just take that out, turn it round for the last one. Not quite in the middle, that one. Just going to give the table a little tap, that's better. The table rotates in various different ways. It rotates around the main shaft and it rotates around itself. We've got clamps and all sorts all over the place. So it's a pretty good idea because you can get to all sorts of different shapes and angles if you've got something clamped in the vise, or even clamped to the table. Right, turn her over, do the other side. Yeah, so it's sort of, I suppose they call it a radial arm slightly. It's got joints in various places. I've had this, still not straight, there we go. Had this how many years? God knows how many years. Came out of school, and when I got it, that one's through and it met. When I first got it, no one had actually tried it, and plugged it in, and it didn't go. It's got, I don't know what they are. The gears are like a fibre, not quite Bakelite, but they're along that sort of lines. They're a real weird material, and coming out of a school, I think some kid had probably slammed it from high speed into low speed and just torn all the teeth off. So I got it all plumbed into the shop and it didn't go still. Luckily the company that make them are still, it's a Meddings, and I'm not sure if they're still going, or somehow I managed to get the bits anyway, and it's been going ever since. The only thing I don't like about it is having to change belts to change the speeds. So I think I've got it set sort of so that the high speed is reasonably high and the low speed is reasonably low, so I can use small drills and big drills without having to keep changing the belts. I would have liked an all gear head one, or a electric speed controlled one. Some of the big old fashioned ones with the electric brake on them and all sorts. Anyway, beggars can't be choosers. It didn't cost me a fat lot. In fact, it cost me virtually nothing. It's earned its money a million times over, this old machine. Nearly there. Turn that over for the last one. And so far I've been lucky, touch wood. All of them have met quite nicely in the middle. You can tell when they meet nicely because you don't get any nasty sort of clacking as the holes try and fight to join up. Right, so now onto all the tapping. There we go, nicely done. But I have got a tool. This is going to save me a lot of time. I think doing these by hand would be a nightmare. I don't know how many there are. There's 4 of these, and there's God knows how many on each one. Doing both sides. This is a little joy. I'm just going to check to make sure that there isn't too much swarf getting jammed in there. Because this being a spiral point, it's going, the swarf's going down. But it's because it's on another bit of metal, it's probably getting a bit jammed up underneath or inside. So I just don't want to go too far in each way. Again, going to tap from both sides. Let's have a little look. There's the bits. You can see that they get caught up inside. Just knock them out. And then we'll go around the other side. I've had this again. There's another little tool that I've had for donkey's years. Hardly ever use it. Just once in a while you get a job like this comes in, and it just saves you so much time. They go in nice and straight. You've got a machine tap. You're laughing. Just think, I say, how long would this take me by hand? All of this lot. I know someone's going to ask what make and model and all the rest of it is. I haven't got a clue. I think it has got a nameplate on it somewhere. If I remember, I'll look at it for the next video. But it's pretty old. It still works. Works a treat. I'm probably running it a bit fast, but again, it's it's so much hassle to change the belt speeds or the speeds via the belts that I've risked it on the low speed. It seems to be working fine so far. It's funny, you can see things on the video that you can't actually see in real life because I'm looking at it from a different direction. It's puts a whole new perspective on things. You can see much clearer on the video when it's lined up or not lined up. Right, I think that's that one done. Oh no, just one more on the end. There's last one on the end. Sorted. Done. Proper job. There you go. Nice clean straight threads. Right, so we've got all them done. I didn't show you them all because again that would have been pretty boring. So before we put it together, I've got to sort this bow out in this thing. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Oh yes, you can quite clearly how much of a bow there is in there. So that has got to come out. But how am I going to do it? Because it's too big to go into fly press. So I think we might have to resort to old-fashioned methods. So let's have a little go. As if by magic, it's gone. Look at that. And all I did was stuck it on the floor with one end on a bit of wood and hit it with a sledgehammer. So that's that. That's sorted that out. So now we can start putting it together with any luck. Don't think there's anything I've forgotten. Probably is, but right. Ah yes, that's what I was going to do. Before we start putting it together, I'm going to put a little radius on the bottom of number 1, the top one, and on both of them on number 2, wherever it is. That's number 2. So top and bottom. Then top on number 3. Well, that's the top. And number 4 we'll leave because it doesn't need it. And I'm only doing this because it's going to just make life a little easier pushing the big square in aluminium. Over the years, if you get little burrs and things, it's going to make it easier just to guide the bar into the holes. So we've got big burfer out. I'll grind that off. There's another cracking tool, another one that didn't cost me an awful lot. Another eBay bargain. I think sooner or later the bearings are going to need replacing in this front wheel. They make a bit of a noise, but they're alright at the moment. They haven't collapsed. It's still running fairly true. Right, so it's at number 2. We're going to do both sides on that one. Just want to put a bit of a radius. Nearly done. That'll do that one. Don't look bad. One more. That's number 3. We'll just do the top edge of number 3. that edge here. Probably not really necessary, but whilst I've got it all apart, might as well do it. Right, done. Let's see if we can start banging it all together. Right, load of bolts that were free, which is always a bonus. I'll always have anything that's free. So I'm just going to put perhaps 3 bolts in each one. I'm not going to put them all in because it's obviously it's got to come apart again. I'm just going to put 3 in just to hold each end and pull the middle sort of in tight. Stick one in the middle there. And I'm just going to nip them up by hand to start with. Find the right one. No, that's the one. Number 1. And stick that in there. It's nice when you've got a good sharp tap and you get a nice free running hole. It makes life so much easier. One more in the middle there somewhere, if I can find it. Right, let's get number 2 in. Now there is, as you'll see in a minute, a little bit of play because the holes are 7mm and obviously the studs are 6mm with bolts. We've got a nice little bit of play, and I think I must have planned it into the drawing because there was me shimming it all out yesterday to get the spacings right. And when I've sort of got it all put together and taken apart again, there is plenty of room. I was slightly worried that there wouldn't be enough room, but as I say, I must have planned it right. Oh, that was a tight one. Hang on, what's going on here? Got a dodgy thread. No, that don't want to go in, that one. It's binding up. Let's just check. I can't see anything. Check bolt. Sometimes you get a dodgy bolt as well. No, definitely the hole. Let's just quickly tap that out. I've got an ordinary tap somewhere. That's better. Just as if by magic. It was just a bit of a burr or something or other in the hole. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, when I designed it all, I must have planned it, but of course, you know, I was designing this quite late at night after a few glasses of wine, so it could have gone anywhere. I didn't realise I'd been that clever. But if I'd just drilled those holes bang down the middle of the bar instead of worrying about shimming them out, it probably still would have worked. I got the result in the end. You know, shimmed it out to where it should have been, and it all worked. But anyway, I know what I'm talking about. I hadn't planned it quite that way. Right, so that slides in and out of there nicely. That slides in and out of there nicely. As I say, you can see there's, I don't know if you can see it really, there's that much play. So we've got plenty of room to adjust things to get it as tight or as loose as I want. So what I think I shall do first of all is pull up, if I can find an Allen key, pull up the top one tight just nip it up tight, and then adjust the middle one accordingly to it to get my spacings right. Let's just move you up a bit. And I've got the top one tightened up. Bags of room there. You see the middle one moved up a bit there, so I'll do the bottom one up at its sort of limit down. The top one's flush. I could come up a little bit if necessary, and then I'll try and space the middle one evenly between the two. That's the theory. So bags of room in there. You'll see it better if I turn it round. I don't quite know what the dog's grizzling at. What are you grizzling at? She's heard someone in the street, I think. Right, yeah, this top one is about okay where it is, I think. I think I'm just going to leave it there at the moment. At the end of the day, there's plenty of opportunity to adjust it. It's got to come apart again and again, I would think. So really, I don't know what I'm mucking about at, trying to get them right. I just wanted to see that it would work. Actually, I think there's plenty of room there. In fact, probably too much on the bottom one. Just trying to see if it's the same both ends. It doesn't seem to be for some reason. It's bigger at one end than the other for some reason, but as I say, I'm sure we'll sort that out. Just going to nip it up. As long as I know at this stage that it will work. That's all I'm trying to achieve. I don't want to get it all put together and, you know, all painted and all nice and then put it together and find it doesn't actually work. So the bottom one I'm just going to have flush because that's got to sit down on the base plate, so I don't want it sticking out proud. I actually picked up the base plate this morning on my way in to go and shoe some horses. Popped in the scrapyard and you wouldn't believe it. There was a piece, I said to Fred, right, I want a piece of plate 550 long or 250 wide, about 10mm thick. And he said, well, there's a bit of 8mm there. How big's that? And it was 255 long by 550 long by 250 wide. So that'll do, 8mm. That'll do it. So it was absolutely perfect, just lying there. Right, just checking there's no burrs from where we had it all welded. I'm just gonna again quickly put a few of these in. On each doodah. Change direction. So there's what? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 24 on each side. That one doesn't want to go in. Something not right there. They aren't lining up. They're all a bit. It's a bit pissy-eyed, that one, for some reason. Looking at it, it's leaning downhill. So I'm just going to have to undo those from the back that third one down and let it loose so I can move it up a bit. So just going to undo it quickly. Slacken it off. That's why I only put 3 in. You have to undo the whole blooming lot if you put them all in. Alright, that should now just allow it, yeah, enough movement just to line it up. That's got it. Pucker. No, have we got another tight one? No, that's alright, that's going in. Right. That's a bit of a tight one, that one. I think that's got a little bit of a burr in it as well, like the one of the others, but it's going in. I hope the wheels turn up fairly soon. He said they were going to be 3 weeks, but I don't remember. I'll have to look back in my emails to see when I actually ordered them, or ordered the special one, to see when I can be expecting it. Because now I'm on the go, I want to, you know, get at it. Because I can't really do much else. I suppose I could check that the motor's going to fit for a start, but I can't do much else about lining things up and putting anything else on until I've got the wheels to see where I've got to line them all up. Do that one back up now, the bottom one. So we'll see once they turn up. We can do a bit more. Just tighten these bottom ones up, and then I think we're almost going to call it a day for now. Right, there we go. Alright, that's going to be a sturdy old tool. It's certainly going to be a heavy old tool. Just check that they'll go in now. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, beautiful. It's missing that back piece now. I've straightened it. That's all that was. Yeah, like that. You can see as I put that in how that, just taking that radius off, how that helps. And that goes a little bit tight towards the end, but not that tight. I think it's catching on the top of the extension out the back, but we can sort that out. So, what else can we do before the wheels arrive? I don't know, there's an awful lot else. There's the bit of plate that I picked up this morning. It's got its, look at that, 250 by 8mm, and it was 550 long, which is spot on. All those blooming figures, everything has to be accountable these days for this blooming CE lark. If you make anything, everything's got to have a bloody certificate. Load of nonsense. Anyway, don't get me started. So that will sit on there somehow. Actually, no it won't. It's going to sit over that side because my motor's got to go on this side. So it'll sit like that ish, motor there, because mine rotates clockwise, so I had to have it that side, whereas other people have it on the other side. So doesn't matter, makes no odds. Easier for a right-handed person to switch it on and off. So the only other thing I can do, I think really, is the little spacer that goes in there. That's just another bit of bar, I think. So I was going to call it a day, but let's crack on and do that, and then that'll really be it for this episode, I think, because I will have run out of time. Okay, in the saw, just cutting a bit of, I think it's a bit of 20mm round, bit of bright bar, cutting it off about 1mm longer than I want it, so I can machine up the ends so it's a good nice tight fit. So I'm afraid this is a bit of a poor shot because it's really dark over in this corner. The poor old camera is struggling a bit to get enough light. I think you get the idea. Just face this off. Stick the old centre drill in. Poor old camera's struggling to focus because of the lack of light, I think. Oh dear. Well, you get the idea. More light, more light. This is another tool that I picked up fairly cheaply. There was a bloke in our yard. He used to modify air rifles. I don't know what he used to modify them for or to. Whether he was making them high powered, I don't know, but all he turned on this was bits of brass to make bits for these guns, these air rifles. And it was like brand new when I got it, as he was moving out, and I don't know if he was getting a bigger shop and getting a bigger lathe, or I don't know, anyway. He just wanted to get shot of it, and because I was like almost next door, I got it for virtually nothing. He said, just take it, you know, get it out, give us a few quid for it. It's been a good old tool. It's a bit of a hobby maker's tool, but you know, I used to have a great big wartime lang with a, I don't know, about a 10-inch chuck on it. There was like a twist-inch bar on it, cold. It was that well geared, and it was had about a 5-foot bed on it. When I left my last workshop, that had to go. A lot of it, I had to get rid of a lot of equipment. A big folder I had, big compressor. Makes me cry now when I think about it. All went in the scrap. I just didn't have anywhere to put it, and this shop just wasn't big enough. And I had to get out of my last place. Never mind. Such is life. Now, I didn't want to do that really, because what I was going to do was start the tap. So I've just remembered that's what I was going to do. So if I find the tap, I'll just stick it in the chuck and just start it by hand. A little bit of jollop. It just again, it's make sure it starts straight. And that'll do. Take that out. Now I can go and tap it a bit more in the vise. Okay, so I've tapped that. Now I'm just going to quickly speed this up because this becomes a little bit boring because I keep taking it out and trying it, and it still wants a little bit more off, and taking it out and trying it, and it still wants a little bit more off. I can't really think of any other way of doing it apart from doing it with a measurement, but you still got to take it out to measure it, so I want it to be a nice tight fit, so I'm just taking a little bit at a time. And it's obviously not enough each time. But slow and steady, as they say. There's nothing worse than you just take that, you think, oh, I'll just take a bit more, and bugger it, you've taken too much. I'm assuming that must have been almost right, because I'm going to drill and tap it again. It's gone through into the other hole. So we're just going to again start the tap. Right, so then you can see it's nice and straight. I can tap right through. I'm going to again go from each end. You can just see the stuff starting to appear out the bottom. There's the little curly bit. It's these spiral point taps, they're designed for through holes. You wouldn't want to use one on a blind hole. You'd want a spiral flute so that the swarf comes out above you, above the, comes back out rather than goes down. This was the first one I did. I only got part of the way through that. So, I'll do the rest of that. Right. Now, you see it fits there, which is right by the top spacer, but it won't fit there because there's obviously a little bit of a bow in it, it's moved in, so, but I want it that size that it is at the base, so I'm just going to force it to the top. And it's unfortunately a bit of bad management perhaps. I could have, I suppose, machined it down. In fact, I might do before I finally assemble it. The bar that I've just made it out of is just a little bit bigger than the radiuses that I put on the side plates. You can see it's just a little bit proud. So I'm not quite sure why the camera's not focusing properly there. I think I might have left it on manual focus, but anyway, you can basically see what I'm doing. Done. There we go. You can see it's just a little bit proud, so I might just machine that off before I finally assemble it. It's just for my own personal, for the looks, nothing else. Doesn't make it function any better. So there we go. That is end of part, whatever this is. Is it part 3? Something like that? I don't know. End of this part anyway, because I've run out of time. I can't really do an awful lot more until some of the other bits arrive. So look out for the next part.